Let's continue now with more analysis of these elections in Trinidad and Tobago. We are now joined by Arnold August, author and journalist on geopolitics. Welcome to From the South, Mr. Arnold.
Hello, thanks for having me once again. It's always a pleasure to be interviewed by you.
Well, it's always our pleasure as well. Very quickly to begin, what are the key issues determining this election day in Trinidad and Tobago?
Well, unfortunately, there seems to be one key issue, or one of several key issues. In 2024, in that small populated two-island nation of Trinidad and Tobago, in 2024 alone, there were 620 homicides, 620 people that were killed in civil strife, or and this is, of course, for that reason people are saying, and your reporter from that area just reported a short while ago, that the question of crime is a key issue in the current elections.
Taking into account these key issues, we have two major forces in these elections, the PNM and the UNC. What are their plans to tackle these issues? What are their differences among these two leading forces?
I think the first thing, it may be good to inform our audience about the nature of the elections in Trinidad and Tobago, the electoral system, which is different than the United States, it's different from Venezuela, it's different from Cuba. It's more similar to Canada and Great Britain, of course, because it's a parliamentary system. So the way that it works, there are in a population like 1.1 million people and voters, there were 41 MPs who are going to be elected today. Now, there were two opposing parties, the center-left, as it's called, or the centrist, and in order to win the elections, they have to have a majority in the House that is at least one half of 41. Then amongst these MPs, they vote amongst themselves in order to propose someone to be prime minister. That is how it operates there, which is quite different from anywhere else, and we have to take this into account as we see the results coming in.
Well, taking this into account, how do you think voters will prefer? What are the plans that are being proposed by these both leading forces, political forces in the country, to tackle the issues that are currently affecting the country?
Well, it's hard for to say the differences between the two different parties, but one thing that is unfortunately not talked about, and that is that Trinidad and Tobago also has a lot of oil and gas. And the positions of these two parties, or these two political groupings, do not seem to be clear as to the need to protect this oil and gas from any foreign attempts to take it over. However, I think the elections are going to be tight because the differences are not that great between both of them. However, the current government, or the outgoing government, has asked CARICOM to send observers, neutral observers who are in Trinidad now, watching over these elections. So hopefully this will stem any move to create a situation of uncertainty after the elections, and even perhaps violence, of course, which no one wants to see.
The elections are going to be very tight. How will this affect governance in the country if neither side reaches a clear majority and a minority government or a coalition government has to be formed?
To be quite frank, that's the million-dollar question, because given the volatile situation in the country right now as a result of violence and strife and homicides, and the serious conflict between the two opposing parties, if neither of the two parties win the majority, this creates a problem. At the same time, there are several other parties who are also running to be elected to that same parliament, and any one, two, or three of these, what they call third parties, can ally with the party that has the most votes, even if it is not a majority, in order to form what we call a coalition government, which is something that is very normal in countries that have a parliamentary system, such as in Britain or in Canada. Hopefully, if this happens, if it's closed, there is no one-party majority for the benefit of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, it would be good to have a stable coalition government and to see how far they can move with this new government in order to deal with the problems of violence and other related issues, the issue of the economy, etc.
One very quick question to finish. How will these electoral results, depending on who wins at the end, will affect Trinidad and Tobago's relations with the region, the continent, and the world in general, especially in the context that we're living today of a very uncertain economic world?
That's also a very key question and difficult to answer because both parties, I believe, have similar positions with regards to the region, even though, of course, the central left People's National Movement has a more tendency, better tendency to be sympathetic to regional integration, to be less hostile to countries such as Venezuela and Nicaragua and Cuba that play an important role in national international integration for that area. So hopefully it will be the center left People's National Front because their position is more pragmatic with regards to regional integration than the centrist United National Congress.
Thank you very much, Mr. Arnold, for your time and your inputs hearing from the South.
It's a pleasure being with you once again.
It's always our pleasure as well.